Black and White Network supporters, make sure you check out the Black and White Network merchandise store. Link in the description. Use promo code USA First, all one word. USA First, all one word. 25% off now. I'm back. Rodrance for Black and White Network. We're going to talk about Joe Rogan, Aaron Rodgers, Democrats, Occupy Democrats, which is the loony group that's on Twitter. Why? Because once again, the Democrats want Joe Rogan kicked off Spotify. We're in Groundhog Day at this point, right? Ned Ryerson, I'm waiting for him to saunter out and get right in front of our face. As we're running the same exercise we were running before. Why? Because, oh my God, we got to cancel Joe Rogan because he chose to treat COVID the way he felt like he wanted to treat it and then tell his listeners about it. Oh my God, we can't have that. But you're calling us fascist. All right, kiss my ass. Anyway, you get the point. I mean, we're running this exercise over. I'm waiting for has-been artists to start coming out. I want Spotify. I demand Spotify kick Joe Rogan out, or I'm leaving your platform. And Spotify's like, peace out. Get out. Why? Because 55 million people a week listen to Joe Rogan. 11 million people a day. Do the math over the course of the month. It's more than, I mean, my God. Think about this. Joe Rogan gets 3.5 times the listeners that Tucker Carlson gets in one program. Now that's having reach. And Joe Rogan, the thing that scares him about Rogan is he crosses all kinds of demographics, okay? Conservatives, liberals, I mean, you know, people in the middle, moderates, all over the place, and that scares the crap out of Democrats. Okay, that scares the crap out of them. He came out the other day and said, vote Republican. If you were affected by the pandemic, by the Chinese virus, by the Wuhan virus, negatively, your business was ruined, all this, how you were treated. This was right after he called Kayleigh McEnany the Michael Jordan of all press secretaries. The greatest of all time. She was great. All-time great. Well, anyway, the point is they want him gone again. They want him gone again. I'll play the little clip of what Joe Rogan said. But the Twitter mob is losing their mind. They want him kicked off Spotify again. Outkick. Occupy Democrats wants Rogan canceled from Spotify because of course they do. Joe Rogan is once again facing calls for Spotify to cancel his show, only this time it's for having the audacity to tell people to vote Republican. Rogan was speaking to Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers on a recent episode of his massively successful podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience. The two talked about COVID and the ensuing response. During that discussion, Rogan mentioned that his intention to vote for Republicans due to, quote, errors made by Democrats. He then encouraged his listeners to do the same. By the way, Bill Maher said he was going to vote based on things involving the pandemic. I think that's pretty interesting. Yeah, Bill Maher came out and said the exact same thing. Both of them really rubbed raw with how the pandemic was handled. Quote, I hope there's lessons learned in this because this is a new thing, Rogan said to Rodgers. He never had this before. No one that was alive had ever experienced a true pandemic, and I'm hoping now that this is over, people are going to recognize that there were some serious errors made and not to repeat those. Of course, this was met with cool heads and rational thinking. Okay, so let's just listen to it right quick. Let's just do it.
Who is alive today had ever experienced a true pandemic. And I'm hoping that now that this is over, people are going to, recognize that some serious errors were made and not repeat those. That's the best you can get out of it.
So what do you tell those people?
Vote Republican. That's what a lot of them are going to do anyway.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, more than 1 million people transferred over to the Republican Party, I think in 2021 alone. Find out what that number is. But, you look at guys like Ron DeSantis who kept Florida open and had some pretty reasonable policies in terms of, like, what to do about COVID. And, he mapped it out on television. He was, widely criticized for this. where he was saying, like, we need to protect our elders. We need to, make sure that medical care is available for those people, and everyone else. You should be able to do whatever you want to do. Protect
By the way, this isn't the first time
ever
that he's come out and praised DeSantis, particularly over that. As in their typical way of doing business, Occupy Democrats immediately called for Spotify to drop Rogan's show because of, quote, dangerous rhetoric. Oh, my God. If you support a boycott of Spotify until they drop Joe Rogan's podcast after he just ignorantly urged Americans to vote Republican, yeah, that's a whole other party that's viable. As payback for businesses closing down due to the pandemic, dangerous rhetoric as the GOP embraces full fascism. I mean, the unadulterated gall to not recognize that line right there, dangerous rhetoric, and the GOP embraces fascism while you're calling to have a show canceled. I find that just, that's crazy. It's so ironic, but yet you can't see it. Occupy Democrats described Rogan's pro-Republican statement, one that was a huge portion of America would agree with, quote, dangerous rhetoric as GOP embraces full fascism. Then, of course, they beg for some social media engagement. Let's face it, even if you are truly concerned about the future of the country, you don't skip out on a chance to juice those social media numbers. Rogan skirted a cancellation attempt before. This isn't the first time they tried to cancel him, and we talked about that, about his statements involving the Wuhan virus. The same thing will happen with Occupy Democrats boycott. Spotify isn't going to drop Rogan because he advocated for Republican candidates. Yeah. Well, what happened last time is it wasn't just the Wuhan virus thing. When they found out that Spotify, okay, that didn't work. Spotify's not going to actually drop him. So what they did was they put together this greatest hits compilation of the N-word that Joe Rogan had used over the years on the show when he was telling stories as relayed by, somebody of color, right? But there was context around every time he actually used the word, which I get it. He come out and said I shouldn't have used it, and he probably shouldn't have used it. But that's neither here nor there. Spotify didn't budge there either. By the way, it should be noted, Rumble has a standing offer of $100 million to Joe Rogan if he does get dropped off Spotify. All right, they just did that with Andrew Tate. You know what I mean? That's a name I don't think we're supposed to utter now. No, well, fuck them. So anyway, you get the point. All right? Spotify is not dropping this guy. All right? He is their most popular and valuable asset on that entire platform. No amount of Joni Mitchells and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Neil Young, none of those folks, none of those woke, old, Sontario codgers are going to get Joe Rogan kicked off Spotify. He's too valuable. I mean, my God. He got the Green Bay Packers quarterback on his show. I mean, they're friends, for crying out. This guy has got reach into areas that I believe no other person has, actually. Okay, the ability to draw in any guest at any time. He will draw them in. And I don't agree with a lot of what he says politically. I don't. But man, when it came to the Wuhan virus, and when it comes to things like working out, fitness, all that sort of thing, I dig the hell out of some of Joe Rogan's guests. Aaron Rodgers, that's a must listen for me. Right? And I think that's what drives Democrats nuts. You're supposed to listen to that standard operating CNN/MSNBC rhetoric where it's Trump, 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 bad, 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 racist, 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 vote Democrat. Ta-da! And they can't stand that this guy is actually, just coming right out on his show and saying vote Republican. The Democrats have actually lost some strong voices, or are losing strong voices. They're losing Joe Rogan. They've lost Elon Musk. I mean, he just come right out and said it. they're slowly but surely losing Bill Maher, whether anybody likes it or not. Part of Bill's problem now is they've canceled him. I mean, they hate his guts. But he's still got a blind spot, even though he loves DeSantis. That's neither here nor there. Tell me what you think. They're coming after Joe Rogan again. And they're not going to get him again. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.